Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
We're back together, because I think last week it was just Amy and I, right?
No, we did. That was the double record day.
Oh, okay.
So we were together. But
we were all together.
But you know what? It's okay because listeners will think we weren't together because what dropped today was My Dearest Nemesis, which was just you and me.
That's it.
I feel like I haven't seen either of you in like 2 weeks. So
I know.
But we were together last week.
We were.
Yeah.
I love what was the show? It was a couple weeks ago where Leah's like, this is the first time we've all been together in like 3 months. It's like, no, it's been a couple weeks.
Time flies when we're having fun.
Yep. Time is different in my brain.
So I have something to talk about, and it's going to lead into like our topic tonight. So I recently visited my alma mater, so where I graduated college. And for those who don't know, I went to college at Shippensburg University, which is a state school in Pennsylvania. You haven't heard of it, I'm sure. I don't expect you to. It's small, the town's small, whatever. So I had not been back to Shippensburg since so I graduated college in 2005. And I maybe went back like 5 years after I graduated, and then I haven't been back since. And the only reason I went back just 2 weekends ago was because my daughter had like a field hockey thing there, and it lasted 3 hours. So, I was like, well, like, why don't we explore campus? That's where I met my husband, was at Shippensburg, and we dragged my son along as well. And part of the reason, which I feel like I've never admitted this out loud, part of the reason I didn't want to go back is because I thought it would make me sad. I had a really, really good college experience, like a really, really good college experience. I loved it. I had a core group of friends. I met my husband there. I still talk to my friends from college. And I was like part of things there. You know what I mean? Like when you go to college, you're like a part of things. I was a part of the student newspaper. I was actually editor-in-chief of the Slate at Shippensburg University. Thank you very much.
Nice flex.
I know. I'm really proud of that because I probably didn't really deserve it, but the previous editor-in-chiefs liked me, so they voted me. But anyway, that's beside the point. And I feel like because when I had gone back like 5 years after I graduated, I sort of felt like sad, like a sad nostalgia. Like I was like, God, that was like a really good time in my life. And I know that sounds pathetic at the time, but when I was like mid-20s, I was like making no money. Life was hard. I had adult responsibilities. I wanted to go back to when like my dad still let me put stuff on his credit card. So when I had that like amazing like safety net. And I think that's part of why I started writing new adult as well, because part of me was like sort of nostalgic for that like a little bit more like carefree time in my life. And so when I went back this past weekend, we were like walking around campus and seeing what has changed. I wasn't sad at all. I actually was like walked around campus like happy that I was like, oh, these are fun memories for me to look back on. This is like, these are, a little trip down memory lane, but like not in a way that made me sad. And I kind of when we drove home, it was like an hour drive. I was like, why was I not sad when I expected to be sad? And I kind of had this whole like epiphany that I think part of what I loved about college was that I had a community like at the time. Like college was my community. First of all, I felt like I identified as something. I was a Shippensburg University like student, like that meant something to me. I was also in like a specific community with like my major and the people in my major, and I had like an identity within that. Does that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel like in my 20s, that was something I didn't have. So I don't think when I was in my 20s, I kind of had like, I remember when I started to have a kid, when I started to have kids, I was like a part of like, do you remember The Bump which was like the message
Yes.
boards. Okay, I had like and I still actually talk to people I met on the bump, by the way, like way back when. But I feel like the community part was something that I didn't have as much in my 20s. And I think that's why when I went back in my 20s, I was just like sad that I didn't have that anymore. And now I was like, as I was like walking through Shimmelsburg, I was like, I have a community now. Like, I have my writing community and I have like this community, this like Afternoona Delight community. And I think because I don't, it's like I find, and I know it sounds crazy because I'm like 42. It took me this long to like move on from like what was, I guess I could say, but I finally feel like, oh my God, like my identity has like, I have moved on. I have like moved on to like a stage in my life where I have community again and I have an important community and I'm also really thankful for it. And I guess the best part was I felt like I could like look back with happiness rather than look back like I wish I was still there. Does that make sense? And so I don't know, it was just this big thing that I wanted to, it was like a big thing for me to kind of have this like epiphany. And that was part of why I was like, how about tonight that we kind of like talk about that? Like talk about the community that we have found within like K-drama and K-pop and why it's so important to us. And it's sometimes why if people are like, "Oh, you have a podcast on K-dramas?" Okay. And like I kind of get that response sometimes and I'm like, "But this is like a huge part of me." And this and you're also I don't like it cuz then I feel like people are being negative about my community too. I almost feel like I need to defend like everyone. But yeah, so I guess I just thought we could kind of like springboard and talk about that. Also, I do want to say one aside. I drove by the place I used to live in college for 2 years that I loved. It's condemned. Condemned.
It sounds like it should have been from the things that you told us.
Yeah.
It is. I know, but it's now an unsafe structure because a sinkhole opened up in front of it. So that's upsetting. By memory.
You know what would be
memories.
more upsetting? Getting
Yeah.
lost in a sinkhole.
Getting sucked into a sinkhole as a college student. That would suck really, really bad. Yeah, anyway. So I guess, yeah, we can just kind of talk a little bit about how we feel. And especially because Leah recently came back from her own visit with our community and actually Amy too.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago for me already.
True.
Leah's right in it.
Yeah. So yeah, where were you, Leah?
Okay. So, I mean, do you want an update or is there like a question?
Like, let us know kind of how let us know where you were, who you met, how it felt.
Like the
Okay.
community that you just participated in and
Yeah.
got back to your office this morning.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
With no sleep.
So yeah, I feel as if, well, okay, here's what I'm going to say is I feel like there's lots of chatter constantly about how social media and the internet and the internet webbles drive people apart and make us less connected. And I will honestly say that I have found, and I don't want to say that like because I have a different experience, like there isn't elements of distancing that can occur for people, and there's like not things that can happen, like that there's no point or veracity, and like in the fact that the internet can, like I'm not trying to paint it all as like rainbows and roses, but for me, I would say that for a better part, I mean, I would never have met you both without internet
Exactly.
relationships. So
Yep.
online relationships to me have been since like 2011, 12, incredibly important for me. And they fit a lot of my dynamics really well. So this is a circuitous route to get where I'm going, but just like, you know what, buckle up. And
I had a little bit of a route to get to where I was getting to too. It's okay.
And so like, for example, today my sister, like I don't tend to talk to my family that much. And my family it sometimes feels like they talk to each other quite a bit more than I talk to them. And when I was conversing with my youngest sister today, I was like, it's just, I don't really pick up the phone. Like I don't have a long commute that I need to fill the time in. My job is either a 5-minute walk from my apartment, a 5-step walk from my apartment if I'm sleeping on campus, or if I'm at my off-campus house, I'm like a minute and a half in the car probably. So I don't have a lot of car time to talk. And beyond that, I'm kind of like filling my time. And so I'm a texter and I do group chats and I do texting. And I'm not always like the best responder, but I'd say like I'm better than most. And when you get me when I'm hot, as we've always talked about in the past, you can really get me, and I will flood you in those moments.
Yeah.
And so my sisters find that very overwhelming. My husband finds that overwhelming, but not everyone does. Some people can like match my freak and like go back and forth with this kind of stuff. And so this podcast became like, a new community, and it was really fun to like have listeners and have this like world open up in the pandemic. And when I fell into the BTS Army rabbit hole and just started to like share more about my journey and like how I was like finding value in it, having listeners reach out to me and be like, look, you mentioned it. I didn't really know what this was. I just decided to check it out. And now I am like super hooked and like what is happening to me and being like, I see you, I validate you, like come aboard, my friend, like come home. And so I kind of made like a subgroup of connections kind of from this podcast that's kind of spun off into being what became the Afternoona Army podcast, made up of people who were previous listeners who became BTS Army fans. So, long story short, we've now, because you don't need to meet in person to have an online relationship be authenticated. I want to preface that. But it is fun to meet people from the online world and meet them in the human world. So we had this happen. Well, I had it happen to me very much at Permission to Dance Las Vegas, where I met like my BTS group chat members who became my podcast members, where I met like Tanya and Allison literally at the seat. Like I sat down 20 minutes before the show started and was like, hello, I'm Leah. Nice to meet you. Like we will be attending the show together. We've been talking online together. And then I stayed in their hotel room that night, having met them for like 8 seconds, and brought my child and felt fine about it. And then D-Day, you both came to Oakland with me to see Suga's solo tour. We met another group of people from the podcast, or like the Patreon group and the podcast and that world, who kind of got a suite together.
Oh my God, so fun. Such a good time.
Such a good time. Super fun. And then to know that like those groups have kind of solidified in like their geographic areas, and they like hang out and they go to shows together and they do like retreats together. And like, that's really great to like see that energy continuing. And then BTS has been in the military. J-Hope had the dance captain and part of the rap line, was the second member to come out of the military in October. He went on to announce a solo tour, Hope on the Stage, and obviously I was going to go. Amy ended up coming too, so we were able to connect in Chicago. We had a group of people from Chicago, or a group of people travel into Chicago. We've talked about that a little bit in the pod, so I don't want to like repeat it too heavily. But, it was great, again, getting to meet people. And what was really funny to me at that one was realizing that I hadn't met people before. Like I'm meeting like listeners and I was like, oh, I didn't realize I've never met you, because I feel like I like hang out with you and like know you.
Because we do, we do our, for our top tier for Patreon, we do a Patreon live Zoom every month. And I totally feel like I would recognize those people if I saw them, because we see them every month. And it does feel like we know them.
Yeah. And which is really great. And then we did a repeat with Oakland, because I live in the greater Bay Area. And so had a suite one night, and then the other night had, had seats. And so again, got to meet like more people from the pod. That was really fun. And I guess what I wanted to like say within that too is just like, first of all, I want to validate how proud I am of, and I want to make sure that I say this in a way that doesn't cause like any accidental offense. So I want to preface that I'm really proud, and I don't mean this in like a patronizing way, of some of our like slightly older listeners who make the leap to come to shows and see things and try things. Because it really, I want to say that because it gives me a lot, like I look up to that, to see things that feel aspirational to me. Because I feel like to be in like the middle age of parenthood, where you still have children at home and things like that, there's a lot of pressure to kind of be like, you should be a parent, you should be at home, your children should be your number one. Going away and doing something for yourself is kind of outside the norm if you're a parent. Like the role that we're given to be like a winning parent is like, it's a time of sacrifice, and you put your needs aside. And I think I've done a lot of talk about like how I try to repudiate that a lot. Not to say I would never believe in sacrificing for my children, but I don't believe in sacrificing all of me for my children by any stretch. And trying to normalize that for other people because there's so much pressure. And I like bought into that for a very long time. And it was like hard to kind of like come out of that. But then I think like, again, you've got people who either like, maybe they had children and they're empty nesters. Maybe they never had children, but they've just started to hit a time that's kind of like maybe like menopausal and beyond where like, again, society never values, I'm on a soapbox right now, but like society diminishes women at every stage. If you're a teenager, they're diminishing you. If you're a young woman, they're diminishing you. If you're a parent, they're diminishing you. And then if you're an older woman, they're diminishing you. At any point, there's a time when like patriarchal messaging is to say like, you're not enough, you don't belong, you should be doing something else. Mm-hmm. And so to see women who are a little bit older being able to be like, you know what? Maybe I haven't used a lot of certain technology before. Maybe I haven't used Venmo before. I'm going to fucking figure it out. Maybe I haven't traveled that much in my life before alone. You know what? Why not? Maybe I'm going to come and travel by myself or bring a buddy, and I'm going to come to a place where I don't know many people. Maybe I wanted to work on my fitness and my health before I got here. So I felt stronger and more confident that I'd be able to like, because it is a lot of work to like stand up and jump around for a 2 or 3 hour concert and walk around.
It is. It's exhausting. Yeah. It's exhausting.
And I'm trying to be respectful of like, look, everybody's bodies are different. Everybody, like, it's not to say that like I'm trying to like hold up, like, like some people are going to need to sit down for a whole show and that's totally fine too. It doesn't really matter. It's not about that. It's about being able to say, like, let me be brave and do something that like might be outside of like what is normed expected for me. And let me like kind of be outrageous and have fun. And why not scream and jump around? And to norm that like something like, again, even though we diminish teen girls so much and make it seem like anything they like is like dumb and brainless, then we'll be like, but music like this, like BTS music would be for young girls, not for older women. And it's like, but
why?
But why? Who? It's just to make everybody feel like they're not enough and to feel dumb and to feel shamed. So for me to see kind of like the generation that's like a bit ahead of me to be like, that's where I want to be. Like, I want to do that. And I find it really admirable. So if you were one of those people that I met, just know that like, I feel like I'm like emotional, right? I also haven't slept, but like, like the concert was last night and I like woke up at like 6:30 this morning after getting to bed at 2. But it makes me emotional because I feel as if it really just impacts. Role models are really important. And I think sometimes people think that like they may be very like normal or like not brave or just themselves. Like, they don't see themselves as like bigger than life or like, they're just like, I'm just me just doing my thing. Or maybe I don't even feel like I'm much of anything at all or who knows what. But to say like you could still really have impact on other people and like really make a big impression. So that's what I'm sharing. And I am emotional about it.
Well, I think even like when I would attend with my daughter, she loved seeing people of different ages at the concerts. I took my daughter, gosh, the first AT's concert I took her to, she was maybe 9, 8. She was young and she loved seeing people from all ages there. And that was also, I was really glad for that because I wanted her to see that like, yeah, it's not like when we hit menopause that we just like stay at home with our cats. As much as I love being home with my cats, like I also want to still be like, I'm going to enjoy what I enjoy. I also think the generation that's like a little bit older than me is a generation that was still like, I mean, I think my generation as well, but generations was very like not meant to, that there was a lot of societal pressure to not have these types of like interests and loves and hobbies. And they were like shamed for liking pop music or things like that. So it feels really good to see them like bucking like probably what they grew up with and being like, too bad. I'm 60 and fuck it. I am going to have a good time. And do what I love and enjoy what I love. And I do really appreciate that. And that's the type of community I want to be a part of. Like, that's the thing, like, that's inspiring to me because that's the community I want to be a part of. And as you said, Leah, like that is inspiring to me. It's inspiring me to see like little kids. I just love the entire, I would say, like K-pop community, but also K-drama. I'm telling you, my daughter is like so hooked
I'm so
on.
jealous that your daughter's
She is
loved
on
it.
Vicky. She's really into BLs right now. I mean, she is pouring through BLs. Like she's seeing ones that I have not seen yet. She is going to town. But yeah, it's like she's like super loving. Just like I think she likes to like talk to me about it as well.
Well, so that's another thing that I was going to point out. It kind of like goes with what what you're saying, Leah, about like admiring and seeing you know the bit of an older generation as role models, but also I feel like this community of K-pop and K-drama also like blurs the age lines as well, because I was talking before we started recording, like when we did the suite for D-Day in Oakland. How many years ago was that already? Two years ago. We were in a suite with each other, with people from our Patreon, and it was people from their 20s to 50s and beyond, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't know it. Like there was nothing that made us unable to connect with each other, generationally speaking. And I think that is a huge part of this sort of like Hallyu Wave community that we're a part of now, is that like what you were saying, Megan, about like, feeling like you couldn't like the things that you liked. Like I was that Generation X. Like if you didn't like cool music, you weren't cool,
Mm-hmm.
right? What everybody else thought was cool. There was no such thing as like, comic book conventions where you go and see your favorite superheroes that like I was aware of, that I was a part of. I'm not saying they didn't happen, but like the people that I hung out with were the people that I, wanted to be like and wanted to be cool like them, like even to the extent. And that's also, like social anxiety speaking. And I think that is something that is kind of, blown out of the water in these situations. Like we are hanging out with people, like I am an introvert, like through and through. But when I get into this community, I can open up and I can feel comfortable and I can be myself until a certain time.
No, okay. So
and then social battery's gone and I have to go home. But like, I don't know. I think that there are a lot of lines that are blurred because of the acceptance of this community and the joy of it.
Okay, so that's a question that I have, which is, what is a part of yourself that you feel like you like, what are parts of yourself that you feel like you express in fandom spaces? And I'm going to use fandom spaces to cover, like, we've talked a little bit about like, musical fandoms, but K-drama fandoms. So kind of let's use those as our lenses. What parts of yourself do you express in those spaces that could be hidden in other areas of your life?
So for me, like, I would say growing up, I was kind of always that person that was like maybe a little too much. I was a little too loud. I laughed really loud. My voice is loud. And I liked being excited about things. And I suppressed that, I think, for a really long time, because kind of the cool thing to fit in was to be like cynical and not
Nonchalant.
love things. What?
Nonchalant.
Yeah, like being nonchalant. Like, you didn't, if you liked things too much, that was uncool. And I feel like finally I can like just love things like out loud in a way that I didn't feel like I could before. So I remember when I went to the Salt and Gook fan meet. So um I think I had like I think I did a podcast on the Salt and Gook fan meet. Or I talked
about it.
I did talk about it on Afternoona Asks. I'm sorry. There's a whole thing on Afternoona Asks because Grace went to the LA one. Anyway, I wasn't even like sitting near the people that I went with. Like I went with some Patreon members, which first of all, like it felt good. Like we all sat down to dinner together and I was like, this food's really good. And I remember like, that's just me. Like I'm an effusive person. And they were just like, yeah, Megan, like just like they were like we were vibing. We were on the same vibe and I loved it. And then when we got to the Salt and Gook fan meet, I never felt like I was like sitting there just having a great time, and I was kind of by myself because my seat ended up getting moved. So I was like around like complete strangers. And I remember like Salt and Gook would say something and I would like verbally react. Like I'd be like, yeah, that sounds so fun. Like I'm like yelling to myself, like talking to myself. No one was like, oh my God, what is she doing? Like, why is she? No, because everyone else was doing the same thing. I just felt like it feels so good to be like in a large room with people who are like as excited and effusive as you are about something. And no one's like judging you for being like, okay, maybe tone it down a little bit. Cause that's like one of the worst things you can say to me is like, can you just like tone down your excitement? I hate that. I hate that. And I feel like I was told that a lot when I was a teenager. And so now it just feels so good to just love things openly with other people. And that's, I think, what I get from this fandom as well. And I feel like I love going, say on like Sarah from at K Drama This always posts like really long reviews on page on about K dramas on her Instagram. And I love it because I love being able to comment and just say whatever I want and like I know, and I also feel like I can also make like side comments that reference other dramas and people know what I'm talking about. It just feels so good to be in that community where people understand me and they're also commenting similar things. Like they're commenting long paragraphs as well, whether they liked it or they don't. They're still like as engaged as I am. Does that make sense? I like that.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes along with what I was saying before. Like when I was younger, in my teens and in my 20s, I wouldn't talk about what I liked if I didn't already know it was what everybody else liked.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I just wouldn't. Because I was always so afraid of being judged. Mental health was not talked about, in my teens and 20s, which is, 30 years ago. Mental health was not talked about like it was now. I didn't even know therapy was a thing until after I was out of college. And I did it and I got on medication and it was fantastic and it was a whole new world. But it was so taboo, right? And so I lived those formative years constantly worrying about what everybody else thought. Like to the extent where, I mean, I say that I'm an introvert and I always have been, but like painfully shy when I was a teenager, painfully shy when I was in my 20s. And I think now, because of the acceptance of this community, I am so proud of what I love and I want everybody else to know about it and hopefully love it too. Like I've got, local friends watching K-dramas and listening to K-pop. And just so on Tuesday nights, I work very part-time at my local public library because I will always be a librarian. And I brought my Copyco to work to pass out to everybody.
I love it.
That I got at Jungbu Market because it gives me an opportunity then to talk about K-drama. So I'll be like, how I watch K-dramas and do this K-drama podcast. And they're like, yeah, because I talk about it all the time now.
Oh, I love that you did that.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I said, so a big thing about K-dramas, if you don't watch them and you don't know, is that there are no commercials because all the advertising is built into the story. Mm-hmm. And so, people will be at a restaurant that's sponsoring the show or, they'll be at a coffee place or whatever, or they'll use makeup. And I'm like, there is this candy, this coffee flavored candy that is probably one of the biggest sponsors of K-drama. And, I talk about how people are always popping out their coffee cone and so refreshing. I'm like,
but energized.
But you know what? But I'm like, you know what? It's delicious. And so I'm passing it out to everybody at work last night. And they're like, where did you get this? Like, it's so good. It's now I've got people wanting to go to Jungbu Market. And, nice. I love that. I won't shut up about it now. And I think that's a huge difference between the person that I am now and the person that I would have been 20 or 30 years ago.
I love that. I love that you're sharing that with you. I think that's really cool.
And also saying I had Kopiko today. Because I had a bag of it in my car and I kept having it and then acting like I was in a drama and being like, oh, I feel so awake.
I'm energized. Refreshing.
So refreshing.
and then I just have to say Amy and I are watching a drama right now where they go to Quiznos, which first of all, I don't know if there's a Quiznos still in America, let me know.
There are.
There are? Okay.
Yes.
every Quiznos that used to be near me has
I
gone
know
out of
most of them
business.
have closed. Yeah.
But I'm jealous because I used to love Quiznos. I used to go there when I worked night shift at the newspaper. I would eat dinner there because there was one within walking distance in the city. But it's just so funny because they keep biting into it and they're like, I don't know. Anyway, go
You
ahead,
have to
Leah.
react to it. Yeah.
It's so funny.
So I was just looking, and it said that as of 2024, Quiznos made a hard pivot. Right now there's 148 Quiznos in the United States.
Okay.
There
That's not
used
a
to be
lot.
4,700 at
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I think there is still one fairly close to me. Like, I feel like I've seen one recently, and that it shocked me because I thought they were all gone.
They paid a lot for this undercover high school. I got to talk about this. Leah, they're NIS agents, and they actually go undercover in a Quiznos. So their like base of operations is in a Quiznos. They're in
So every
Quiznos
meeting is in a Quiznos.
all the time, Leah. They're always in a Quiznos.
Do they have like a signature sandwich they eat when they do their biz?
They
No.
don't.
No,
They
but they
don't.
always have on the aprons, and they're dressed in full uniform because they're not just having a base at the Quiznos, but they are working the Quiznos.
They're working there, and they actually show the sandwiches coming out of the toaster, like a close up of the sandwiches. It's incredible, and they're eating there all the time with these like big, massive.
I
wrap
love
sandwiches.
it. I love it so much. I love the
know.
product placement. Like, it's so endearing to me now. I think it's hilarious.
I mean, you gotta love. I still think of the Kim Porsche being sponsored by just bread, like a bread company, and then just being like, I'm just gonna eat this delicious slice of bread with nothing on it. Just yum, this piece of bread is so good.
By the way, Hazel's like, I watched Kim Porsche, and I was like,
Oh,
you did? My daughter's 12. She should not be watching.
does she have any questions?
She goes, I didn't really like it. I go, that's fine.
Let's just forget it ever happened then.
She goes, well, I kind of fast forwarded through a lot. I didn't like Kin. I only really liked Porsche. I was like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just don't go back to it. Don't go back to it. I said, when you're older, you might like it better. She's like, okay. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know she would find Kin Porsche. I don't know. I should have warned her, but I guess she was watching a lot of high school BLs. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't think.
I feel as if I tend to compartmentalize like a lot of different aspects of my life. And so like I'm not one like it was really fascinating to me. Like last week, Tanya from Afternoona Army stayed at my place, and my husband and she met for the first time. We were talking about BTS. I was like, actually, Nick, just out of curiosity, like, do you know any BTS members' names? And know that this is like what I do 24/7. Like, this is my life. Like, I am.
And you've never asked Nick if he knows anything about BTS?
I mean, I hadn't asked him if he knew the name. I was like, do you know do you know any of their names, just out of curiosity? And he was like, I don't know if I can. And I was like, think about it for a second. Like, just try. Like, can you think of one? And he was like, Sugar?
I mean, that better be the one he knows.
I mean, this is a low bar, Nick. Low bar.
And that's where I'm at. So I realized that, like, I have other people I know, like, in Army spaces that are like, oh, my husband has, like, his bias. They have a favorite song. They do this or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, would I want that? And I'm like, I don't know. I tend to compartmentalize so many things. I don't know if that's, like, needs therapy or not.
No.
It's what I do. And so for me, I guess when I think about it, it's like, I've made an effort to be a little bit more open with some aspects of my life at my job, because I tended to not do that either. And so I would never talk about the fact I wrote. Now I will share, like, I did write a book. Like, if somebody really wants to ask me about it, I'll tell them. But I've also learned that, like, I don't think people are often that curious. People like to talk about themselves more than listen to others. Maybe that's why we have a podcast, so we can just sit and talk about ourselves. But I'm just saying, like, I also find that people don't tend to be that curious. Like, I might offer something and be like, I'm going to this concert. And people will be like, okay. Like, nobody's like, tell me more. I'd like to hear the details.
See, I would be like, tell me more. I ask people a lot of questions. I like learning things about other people, but then sometimes I'll come away from a conversation and I'm like, they didn't ask me one single thing about myself. Maybe they just don't give a shit. I don't know.
that is, I feel like a lot of what I do, and I don't take it like it's not a personal. I don't walk away being like, oh, I guess whatever. But I'm just it's notable to me if somebody ever like matches my freak and is like, tell me more about that. And I'm always like off put. Like, what do you mean you want to hear more about it? Because I'm
Mhm.
so used to being like the person in the driver's seat. Like, you tell me a thing.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I guess for me, what does being in Phantom Spaces give me is it gives me places that I can take my special interest and like run it down, like just get all like hog wild on special interest. And people are going to match my freak. Like, I'm going to be among people that not only are they going to match my freak, there's going to be people that are going to surpass my freak where I'm like, oh, I thought I was like very like focused on X, Y, and Z and like me, whatever. Like what, and I'm bringing this with some judgment, but I don't mean it with judgment. But like sometimes I'll be like, oh, maybe I'm like in too deep or maybe whatever. And I'll be like, oh God, no. Like, there's so many more places to take this. Or people who just have like encyclopedic knowledge of so many things that like I'm like, I feel well versed in discussing X, Y, or Z, and then be like, oh, I'm just a little baby still. Like there's like so much out there.
Well, it's really fun to like go deep into Instagram, like Reels or my Instagram Explore page, which is always a wild place. My Instagram Explore page has got it all. And being able to pick out many different Reels and know exactly who to send them to. So this one's for Amy. This one's for Leah. This one's for Meg, like the other Megan, the Afternoona Army Megan, or this one's for Allison. Or I love I love that. And I love that other people do the same thing to us. Like I will get random reels from people and I'm like, I'm never going to turn down a reel that you send me. Like, thank you. I'm always going to love it. And
It's
it
a little
feels,
love letter.
yeah, it is a love letter. And it sounds silly that like, like if I was 10 and you were like, you told me that in the future, like 30 years from now, I was going to be sending like reels of shirtless Korean men to like other people, I'd be like, first of all, what's a reel? What's Instagram? What's the internet? But the fact that I would be doing this and that would be a delight in my day, and I'm saying that unashamedly, like I can't believe that this is my life, but I say that in like a joyous way. Like I'm just so happy that that we have that.
I think I brought this up in a previous podcast, but I'll talk about it again. Because it was when Rowan was at the Oscars, and like the amount of people that sent me reels from Rowan walking the red carpet at the Oscars, I was like, I felt so seen and so loved because of that. And now, fast forward like a month later, and now we've got the Rowan Calvin Klein spread,
which is amazing.
And like I was sending that to anybody who would listen to me. Like even like Megan, I know you are not a Rowan person, but I sent it to you anyway.
No, I love him.
No, I know, but I mean, like usually, and so that as part of the community too is like you're saying, like exactly who to send it to. Like I know if I see something Rowan, I'm automatically sending it to BTS Megan because we've got our Rowan relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I know if I see anything Udawan, I'm sending it to you. I know if I see obviously like anything BTS related that I know Leah's already seen it, but I don't care. I'm going to send it to her.
I know she's seen every.
There's no way that I'm seeing it before Leah, but I'll still send it.
I do the same thing. I'm like, I know Leah's already.
Because I hope that because what I hope is that she knows that I'm thinking of her.
Yes, that's
and that that's my way of showing love. Like add another love language to like the fandom space. But yeah, I mean there is a community in like in who our biases are, whether it's K-pop or whether it's K-drama. And so I love that we have that we have developed like these little, sort of, smaller relationships with our larger community when it comes to certain dramas or certain actors or something like that. So when the Calvin Klein thing hit, and if you are listening and you have not seen the Rowan Calvin Klein ads,
just Google.
Do yourself a favor, like please, because holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a part of his anatomy that I think has its own zip code. I'll just say that. But that's a huge part of, like you're saying, like 5 years ago, if you would have told me, I would have been sending reels of Korean men to people.
Yeah. That's what I'm
I'd have
saying.
been like, I feel like that's problematic.
I know it's,
And now I don't. And
No.
I mean, I like
we
no.
love their body of work.
We love their body of work. Look, Ramoon did not do that spread in hopes that nobody would share it.
He knows we're
Calvin Klein
objectifying.
did not do that spread in hopes that nobody would share it.
Right.
Like there was an agenda there. Achievement unlocked.
You're just doing your duty as a fan.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's a big part of it too. Like there's this sort of, it's a parasocial relationship you have whenever you sort of like attach to a fictional character or an actor who plays that fictional character. And I think that there are healthy boundaries in ways to do that. And I think that that's another thing that we've found here. And I think that's a part of being in the K-drama fan space, is because it's a small country with a small pool of actors compared to like what, the US and Hollywood is and stuff like that we're going to see these favorite people then all over the place, in all of our dramas, especially if they are common like sidekick characters and stuff like that. And we'll see them, pop up all over the place. And that in itself is another like form of community, because it's like, it feels like family. It feels like these people that I know and love. And I think that makes it even better.
Yeah. Sung Dong-il just popped up in Moon Lovers. Did not expect that.
Oh my God.
Just popped up out of nowhere. But he's like a general. So it's like weird because he's wearing like all this armor, and he's definitely like the latest things I've seen him in, he's obviously like older, he's a little thinner, especially like If You Wish Upon Me. He looked so little in If You Wish Upon Me and in most of the dramas. But he's got to be wearing lifts in Moon Lovers, or they put him like near other actors that weren't that tall, because he looks really tall. And he's wearing armor. But he's undeniable, like, you know who he is immediately. They even have like, because he's meant to be like a general who's away, so he has like really bad teeth. So they have like something on his teeth that make it look like they're kind of like rotten and stuff. And I'm like, no, you're not hiding Sung Dong-il from me. Like, I know exactly who this is. I know, but it feels like really good to see him pop up. It feels like an old friend. And I also know that I can like mention him on our socials, and people are like, oh yeah, like I remember him from that or whatever. And I feel like I can always find someone. It's funny, so I randomly messaged Tanya from Afternoona Army. Or I'm sorry, Allison from Afternoona Army, and I was like, have you seen this BL? And of course she's watched it. And I was like, all right, should I watch it or not? Like, of course. Like, I always know I can count on her. She's gonna like give me the lowdown. And I really appreciate it. And it's just, I don't know, man. I just love it.
Do you remember, like, speaking of our favorite actors who, make it feel like family when we see them over and over again? Do you remember, like, the first dramas that you saw certain people in? Like, you bring up Sung Dong-il, and I always laugh at the first drama that I saw him in was Legend of the Blue Sea, where he played
because he was the villain,
he played a serial killer.
Yeah, and now he mostly plays like beloved role. Like, you know what I mean? That's so interesting that he played a serial killer. I mean, I'll never forget when I first saw On Bohyun's.
Really? What drama was that?
I still get the name wrong all the time, but Her Private Life. But yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah. Okay, this is not about, well, you know what? This is about community, but this is a segue, but On Bohyun is going to get us here. And I need to share this because it's on my heart.
Okay.
Because Amy shared me.
I found it first.
Amy shared me news that I got emotion. I'm in my emotions right now, but I got emotional when I saw it. Yumi Cells 3.
I saw.
And I sometimes forget how much I love Yumi Cells until I get a thing that says Yumi Cells 3 is coming. And I had a full physical freak out reaction when I saw it, because I love Yumi Cells 1 with On Bohyun. I love Yumi Cells 2 with Ji Young from GOT7 and On Bohyun. And I cannot wait for Yumi Cells 3. And I feel like now you both will watch Yumi Cells 1.
Oh, I might. 100%.
Yeah, I think I will now.
But the article that I saw said that Kim Go-eun is in talks to reprise her role. And I'm like, I need it in writing.
Kim Go-eun, you better show up, girl.
she's gonna do it. It's
Yeah.
iconic.
It is.
She's gonna do it, I think, and I think that it's going to be very. I mean, people want to close this out.
I think that's it.
I'm gonna put the vibes out that it's happening.
Yeah,
And
no,
I'm
I want it.
so-
I want it to. Because I did start it. Because everyone's like, Amy, just watch it. Like, it's so cute. Just watch it. And I did start it, but I'm like, I can't. Because I love An Bo-hyun so much to begin with. And I'm like, I can't start this knowing that it's not going to end well. And then go on to the next one and know that it's not going to end well.
Right.
And then not have the happily ever after waiting for me.
Like not end well is different than like I would say it's more messy and
It's not an HEA, right?
No,
it's a
there's no
romance.
HEA.
It's a romance without an HEA. So I mean, it's not a romance.
Yumi Cells is essentially it's a webtoon, but it's going to like the story that it tells for anyone who like there's gonna be some people who don't know, so I'm gonna give it like a quick rundown.
Yeah, do it.
Is Yumi's just an office worker and like, you know, kind of like a little bit like woman around town in the city, like a little introverted, kind of cool, like just kind of like an every woman, basically working in Seoul. And so each series tracks her relationships, but it's a little bit like Inside Out, where the cells are her inner world and they're cartoons. So you'll see like Yumi interacting in the real world, and then you'll have like the rich interior life of these cartoon cells. And there's like horny cell and, you know, organized cell. And
they're very funny.
Yeah. And then there's like the Gongyu fan club.
Gongyu fan club cell.
So there's lots of funny stuff that just happens in the interior world. And like sometimes the cells will like crash out and have like big issues. And what's even better is as the shows go on, you start to get into the cells of the other leads, like the other men. And so you get their cells as well. And that's
Woong's. Yeah, like An Bo-hyun or Woong, his cells are really funny. There's like a dinosaur that's like, I think that's his horny
just wanders
cell.
around like
yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, but the big question, and I'm just going to put this out here because even though this isn't about community, I am just curious. We know that at the end, because and this is not a big. If you want to know nothing, that's fine. But this is like kind of like this is just in the zeitgeist of like we kind of know what Yumi Cells is about. If you have somehow avoided every single conversation that's ever existed about Yumi Cells, speed up a couple minutes. But I would say that this is like, we know that what it is you see a series of like failed, like she's dating and she's figuring things out and the relationships come and they break up and they go and they rekindle sometimes and it's messy. Yumi Cells 3 is we know she's going to get to an end game and we know that the promise is a younger man. It's a Nuna romance.
Which is my favorite.
Who would we speculate, because this is going to be a big drama and this is going to be a big get to be this person. Who are we thinking?
So I think actually Sarah asked on her Instagram and a bunch of people were throwing out names. Someone said So Kang-jun, who is 31 in real life, but he can look younger.
How old is she? She's only a couple years older than that.
I think look, I could so see him opposite Kim Go-won. I really could. But then I'm also like she's
33.
That's it. I'm also just really in my So Kang-jun era, and that would be.
And this has to be a person, because when you're thinking about it, it's not just who's cute. Who is going to be believable? Because there's still two bachelors in this game. These two bachelors still want to be in the game.
Yeah, see, this guy could so
go up against An Bo-hyun.
And Jin Young. I swear to God, he could. I'm serious. So Kang-jun, I cannot explain to you what he has done to my like brain. I can't. Okay, I wish he was in a drama that I knew you would like. You're not going to like Undercover High School, Leah.
I can watch some reels though.
No, yes. He's in other stuff that I had like. Isn't he When the Weather Was Fine? Like,
oh yeah.
But okay, he's amazing, and I really think he could totally go up against her, and in a way that would be a Nuna romance. Like I think he could. So
this is not my fan favorite, but I'm just thinking like logically what would be like an audience get. And I landed, there's only one choice, I think, that could like really blow it out of the water. And I think that's Byung Sik.
I thought
he's her age.
Doesn't matter. He can.
I just looked him up. I'm like,
bring those bangs, brush them down. I mean, he played a freaking high schooler.
No, trust me, I'm all there. Like I looked him up because I'm like, that's who I would vote for. Like I looked him up. Like I want my lovely runner.
Wait, I'm sorry. He is 33?
Yes.
What? And I did not. Did we talk about that?
Actually, you know what? If you want to take that, I'm going to give another one that is also 33, who I also think could pull off doing a Nuna, even if he's of the same age. And that is another superstar of the day, which is Park Hyung-sik.
My God, he would be
See,
so good.
I don't think he would. I don't think he could look younger than her because she looks so young for her age. Like she always looks so young. So that I mean, Park Hyung-sik can do anything, and I'll be happy.
But I don't think he's not meant to be like freakishly younger.
No,
he's just not like an old, like he's just meant to like basically it's less the Nuna part and more that she is his boss. Like it's like he's a subordinate.
Oh, okay.
I like So Kong Jun and Byun Woo Suk.
I think Byun Woo Suk was my first thought. That was my first thought.
He would be amazing, but in honesty, I did not know he was 33.
Because I could see, so Byun Woo Suk would be a very different type of subordinate, I think, than So Kong Jun would be.
Yeah.
And it would be fun, like either way. Like So Kong Jun, it's hard because I just picture him as his character in Undercover High School. They both could pull it off, and it would be very different versions of the guy, and I would be here for it. But Byun Woo Suk was my first thought until I saw his age, but I'm okay with it.
I love both of those.
Anyway, we move back to Community. I just had to give a
No, that's okay. I actually have something to bring up that is related to Community because it's the community who brought this to my attention. But I feel like I need to correct something, I guess, from My Dearest Nemesis. Okay, so in My Dearest Nemesis, just to give like a background, and this is not a spoiler, you find this out in episode 1, but the hero played by Choi
Hyun-wook.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Choi Hyun-wook. He is like a chaebol, but he has this like secret identity where he like loves anime and rock and roll. And in the podcast, we talked a little bit because the rock and roll he likes is very 80s hairband reminiscent. And again, I am not hating on 80s hairbands, but you have to admit that is what it sounds like. Okay, the band that he is into is definitely like an 80s hairband. And it just surprised Amy and I about that choice, okay? And so we talked a little bit about it on the podcast, and I said, like, I even said on the podcast, I was like, look, Bon Jovi is like one of my favorite bands. Okay, so like, you're not gonna like, I'm not talking crap on hair bands. Then Carlene, one of our Patreon members and who follows us on Instagram, commented on our My Dearest Nemesis post.
Oh, I missed that. When I looked at the post, it didn't have comments yet. Okay, what did I miss?
Oh my God! And she's like, well, maybe 80s like bands are making a comeback because Jay from Enhypen just did a cover of Bon Jovi's Always. Okay.
Ooh.
So I did not know about this. And
do you remember in Hospital Playlist when I lost my shit when they did Bon Jovi?
Right. Mm-hmm. So I did not know Jay did this. I immediately went to YouTube. So to our credit, he posted this 5 days ago. So it had not been, when we recorded, this had not been out yet. Okay. So we didn't know about this, but he did a cover of Always by Bon Jovi. And
Always is not an 80s song though. Always is a 90s song, isn't it?
True, but it's Bon Jovi. I mean, true, yes.
Yeah.
So, and Always is it's a rock ballad.
Mm-hmm.
So and in honesty, there's nothing about it necessarily that screams like 80s hairband. It's just a rock.
The ballad. 1994 release. I just looked it up.
Yeah. For the record, it's one of the best rock ballads of all time. So I will fight you. It's one of the best rock ballads of all time.
Better than Bed of Roses by Bon Jovi?
I actually like Always better than Bed of Roses. So, but what's funny is Jay specifically did the 1995 Wembley version, which is but it's over 7 minutes. It's 2 guitar solos and an extra verse, which Bon Jovi sang in Wembley.
Very Taylor Swift of them.
So I know, right? I did think it was very funny.
Before Taylor
like
Swift.
Jay from Hypen's like, this isn't just Bon Jovi always. This is the 1995 Wembley version. Like, I just think it's very funny that he had to specify and that he did the over 7-minute long song.
Amazing.
So I did listen to it, and he is wearing like a leather jacket. I mean, it's very like rock coded. He has a guitar, but no, there's no headband. There's no like crazy jewelry. Like we're okay. We didn't.
Yeah, Leo, you missed it. Like Choi Han-wook, when he dresses up to go see his band, he's dressing like Bret Michaels from Poison.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like absolutely. He's got a headband. He's got the jacket. He's got sunglasses. He's got this like jewelry. He's got like ripped jeans. He like jingles when he walks. I mean, it's very over the top. It's very over the top. Okay. But so I do feel like I need to acknowledge that, like, okay, so maybe we're bringing back like 90s rock ballads in Korea. I am not going to hate that, because I will say Jay did a very nice, no one's going to match Bon Jovi's voice for me because it's just so distinct. And Bon Jovi wrote Always, like it's his song. But Jay did a very nice job. So I guess I just want to acknowledge, okay, maybe the 90s, 80s, 90s rock bands are coming back in Korea. I'm not going to hate it. But I just, yeah, I felt like that deserved acknowledgement. Because we did talk about that for a long time on the podcast.
We did.
Because we couldn't,
to the extent where we had to do, we paused and did some research,
because it was a real band. It's a real band named Crackshot that he like was going to, when he would sneak away and go, and they're a real band. And then I felt like we were being mean, but we're not. We were just surprised at the musical choice. That's it. It wasn't a dig on the music. It was a surprise that was his musical choice.
We let it go. We talked about it in My Dearest Moms
we're done.
podcast.
We're done. But thank you to Jay, because then I got to like, I had a full like 25-minute time with Bon Jovi this afternoon. But after I listened to the cover, I of course
had to listen to some Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I had to listen to the full 7-minute Bon Jovi performance at Wembley from 1995, which he looks incredible. He has a headband on, just so you know. In that,
I have had a crush on John Bon Jovi for like 40 years.
And Millie Bobby Brown married his son.
That's her father-in-law.
That is her father-in-law, is Bon Jovi.
I did not know that.
Oh,
she is now Millie. If she took his name, Millie Bon Jovi.
Millie Bobby Bon Jovi.
No, it's Bon Jovi is the actual last name. It is
technically Bon Jovi. Yeah, you're right. God, he's from Jersey. Everything about Bon Jovi is amazing. God, I love him so much. But it is a great song. In the show notes, we'll put, you know what? We're going to put a link to both performances.
Absolutely.
So you can listen to Jay, because he did do a really great job. And again, like over 7 minutes with the extra verse.
And you know what? That's another thing that I'll say about this sort of like safe community that we have. I'm going to give us credit. We've cultivated it. We've helped cultivate it, and that our listeners feel comfortable enough to actually us with love. And I didn't. No, she didn't. She didn't. But like sometimes they do. Sometimes they do, and I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. I'll still disagree sometimes. But you're welcome to leave the comment. Yeah.
So anything to close this episode out with?
This is not community related, but I do want to just say that I'm watching Moon Lovers right now. And the entire time Leah was like in Oakland trying to watch and enjoy her time.
I love this. What are you talking about?
I just DM'd her constant messages. And it's this, I just have to say, it's the same thing. I'm on the couch crying, sobbing, actually. And Neil's like, oh my God, what is going on? He knows what's going on. But
both of you don't think that I will have the same reaction.
I don't know. I will say, the community is what also, like, Leah pushed me to watch Moon Lovers, but also the community. There's so much chatter about Moon Lovers right now, in our Patreon, like on Instagram, and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm I'm just going headfirst, diving into the water during an eclipse, and I'm getting into it and I'm loving it. So I guess this, to tie it back to community, I'm thanking the community for just like, and I'm excited because I know when I'm done, I can just like get into it with a lot of people, you know?
Do we think Amy would like it though? You know what? I feel like you and Sarah from Afternoona Asks often align. Not always, not always,
Not always.
but sometimes.
A lot of times.
And this was a miss for her. So I would
Okay.
maybe just reach out to her and be like,
I'm gonna
what?
ask her. Yeah.
Because you do like this isn't fantasy, but there's like kind of a fantasy element to it. Like it's larger than
It's time travel.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, fine, yes. But I mean,
But
I guess
once
it's not
she's there, I got to be honest with
Right.
you.
It's time travel for like a hot minute.
Well, and once she's there, I like forgot. In
Yeah.
honesty, I'm not even sure they needed the time travel element
just
because
buckles. Yeah.
at this point she's just in the
Well,
like
this is why I always laugh because like I'll see reviews for because I base this book on the spirit of Moon Lovers, definitely not the plot, but the spirit of. And sometimes I'll see reviews for my books where people are like, "Look, they all just accept the time travel very readily." I'm like, "They did because I based it on Moon Lovers." Where it's just like, you know what? Fuck
What
it.
else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? And you just settle in like but like she's never like, I miss my mom.
no.
Our friends. I miss my conveniences. I wish I had a tampon. It's like I'm good.
No, she just like settles into life there. Like she knows what she's doing. And I'm like, how do you know how to wash clothes in a river? Like it's very like she's just good to go. Part of me loves the preposterousness of it that I'm just like, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, but there's like a little bit that's larger than life that you might enjoy.
Wait till I'm done.
Yeah.
I will give a verdict on whether I think you'll
Yeah.
like it because I think things could still turn out very bad for me in this drama. Like
I don't. I
it
think
could
if
all
you're
go
enjoying it
downhill.
now, I think you are going to take it the whole way and enjoy the ride.
Okay, but yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I will let you know. I will let you know, Amy. But I do thank the community for like kind of giving me the push and like chatting about Moon Lovers, and because I basically got FOMO. Basically, I got fear of missing out.
So
Good.
I think what you're saying, I think this is a good question to end on, which is going along with what you were just saying, Leah, like, what else? What else? What's a drama? Let's end on what is a drama that you watched because our listening community told you to.
When the Stars Gossip.
And did you like it?
No. I liked it. I was sold, but it hadn't finished. So I don't hold it. I mean, people can recommend anything they want. We're all adults. We make our own choices. But when the community, when people were making the recommendation for me to watch it, it was still live, and it was dropping. Like I caught up fairly quickly to where it was dropping. Like I sat it out for like 5-6 episodes and then like caught up fast. And I think that it was a fair recommendation to be like, we think you might like this because again, there's a lot of talk about sperm, just fiddly sperm that misbehave. There are fruit flies that have sex. There's a mouse that sings for its mate in space. I mean, and it's not that I like ludicrous, but I mean, it was kind of like left of center enough to be like, all right, like, let's see where this goes. Ultimately, not successful for me. Didn't buy the relationship. Didn't enjoy like some of the dogmatic aspects that came out. And I do need to do a podcast on it. I just need to like gird my loins and go for it because it ended up not being as fun as I wanted it. Like I even like being like a hater didn't feel fun. But I do want to talk about it because I think it's important. But yeah, that's one I did. That's the most recent I watched because of a push from the community.
I would say for me, honestly, the one that really was getting pushed by the community was Mr. Sunshine. Yes, Leah was pushing it, but it was not just Leah. It was like a lot of the community who was like, you really need to watch Mr. Sunshine. And I'm glad I did because it like changed my life. I mean, I hated people while I was watching it because I was like, I don't know, I spent like half of it crying. But it was really impactful for me. And what I also love is that there's so many references to Mr. Sunshine in different dramas. So in Undercover High School, there is a reference to Mr. Sunshine because at one point he's like wearing a mask and she catches him, but then he like runs away. And they have a scene later where she does that thing where she covers half of his face.
I loved it.
Yeah, and I've seen that before. I love that. It's always very like fun for me when they like reference other dramas. So I almost feel like at this point, Mr. Sunshine is like one of those like basic K dramas you have to watch. It's like a building block of like other K dramas in a way. And also I sent Leah a message that said the fourth prince, which is Lee Joon-gi in Moon Lovers, he's just an alternative form of Gu Dong-mei. That's what he is. And Leah's like, "Oh my god, I never put that together."
That explains a lot.
Yeah, but I was like, that's why you like him. This is another archetype. It's not the same character in any way, but it is a very, very similar archetype where he's almost like mad at the heroine.
Yes.
Because he's like, "Why did you make me feel this, you bitch?" That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, very much.
But anyway, thank you for making me watch Mr. Sunshine, everyone, because I would say that was one of the biggest ones I think people were pushing.
I feel like a lot of the ones that the community got me to watch are ones that I just watched. You guys didn't.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Like Twinkling Watermelon.
Oh, you were getting pushed really hard by everyone's like, "This is your drama, Amy."
Twinkling Watermelon and Lovely Runner. Because I have a thing for time travel. And so everybody's like, "Amy, why aren't you watching these?" And I remember Lovely Runner. I knew nothing about Lovely Runner. And I think at the time I was trying to watch something else and I was in that like situation where I just wasn't clicking with a drama. And I think it was Sarah from Afternoona Asks who DM'd me on Instagram and is like, "Look, everybody on the Patreon's talking about this." You know, and she told me like just a little bit about it. She's like, "Just dive in." She's like, "It's everything that you want, like in a K-drama." And she was right. So yeah, that and Twinkling Watermelon. At least I got you, Megan, to watch Lovely Runner. Leah, you didn't love. Like I got Megan to watch and love it. Leah, you didn't love, and that's fine. And then Twinkling Watermelon, yeah, that wasn't. And I ended up doing a podcast without you guys, and that was fine too. But it's like I'm not starting. I have been for a while, trusting that our listeners know us and know what we're going to like. Because when I have, sort of bitten the bullet and been like, "Okay, we're probably not going to do this for the pod, but I'm just going to try it." It's been a win. And so I love that. I love that our listeners, our friends, because that's what everybody is now, know us well enough to be like, "Just trust me on this. You're going to like it."
Yeah.
And 9.9 times out of 10, they're right. Same thing happened with When the Phone Rings. Like everybody was talking about it.
That was probably the one that everybody
was talking about.
It's one of the latest ones.
And look, I'm not blaming anybody for not loving it in the end because we were all watching it live.
No one thought that was
nobody thought Oregon was coming. Yeah.
Nobody thought we were going to Oregon. Okay.
But I did enjoy the ride. Like that's the whole thing. Is I enjoyed the ride of that drama, even if in the end I was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" But yeah, so I really do love that I have found some of my favorite dramas, not because they were planned for the pod, but because our community got me to watch them.
Yeah, the community's really good I would say the latest to the pod or the community got me to watch was Love Scout, which I did really like, and it was very different. And then Study Group, which I would say Study Group right now is one of my top dramas of the year. Absolutely freaking loved it. And I think I also got other people, like I feel like the community, like certain members of the community got me to watch it, and then I was a total loudmouth about it on Instagram, because I definitely had a lot of people on Instagram that were like, "Okay, we started this because of you," and then they were like messaging, and Leah would like check the messages, and she's like, "I'm not watching Study Group, it's Megan, she's posting about it." But yeah, so that's fun too, because then I feel like it's just like a circular community, because then it's like we're just all like recommending and telling each other things, and it's so fun and rewarding for us. But I'm just so thankful that we have this because it means so much to us. Um, and just like also like me personally, like on a personal like mental health level and like I don't know, quality of life level, this has been amazing for me.
Yeah, I look forward to Wednesday nights every week. I'm sad when I miss it.
Yeah, my my daughter's she has field hockey every Wednesday, and all her teammates know. They're like, "Hey, it's Wednesday. You got to get out of here quick. Your mom has a podcast."
I love it.
I do too. All right. Well, I am getting a little sleepy, so I think this is a
Yeah.
good spot to leave it.
You need to go to bed. You need to go to bed.
We're glad you made it home for this.
We are. We're so glad. Thank you for.
We're glad that we're all three together. And thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks for all your recommendations. And thanks for being a part of our ever-growing community.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!